Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek Master.
This is Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week. We go over the horror news and we try not to get abducted while doing the podcast. How are you guys doing? You guys been abducted yet? You good?
I was almost abducted once.
If you feel like your wife is possessed, does that count?
Oh, that's a good question.
That might
She got
be
abducted by a demon.
that might be an exorcist question.
Might have to cut this part out. Anyway, I'm doing okay.
That good, huh? We got a lot to talk about. We're obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail and you watched last week, you know we are doing the fourth kind today. That's why we're talking about abductions. It's not because it's a thing that we like to do or think about. But speaking of abductions, you might think that some people got abducted with some of this horror news that we're going to go into. So let's get into it. Let's start with this piece of abduction news. You guys, I don't know if it's, I don't have it, but have either of you watched the trailer for The Crow yet?
Yep, sure did.
What'd you think?
No, I haven't.
What do you think, Derek?
I'm not gonna like it. I can tell you that.
It's not very Crow-y, is it?
Here's the thing. It looks cool, and man, Bill is jacked, but it's not. It's not very Crowy. No, it's not. If it was a
there's no
different story
atmosphere.
or like a continuation of it, like like this is not Eric Draven, this is Bradley Happens Saucy, and maybe.
I think we need to work on the name, but I like the idea.
What's wrong with the name?
They were murdered after walking out of Smile 2, A Slight Frown.
That's right. You got it.
Perfect. No, I agree. I think the atmosphere is just weird in it. I mean, it looks kind of... I saw somebody on Twitter today say that it was like the John Wick Crow, and I can 100% see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's two... I mean, it's a lot of... There's no mysticism to it. Like, what was cool about the Crow is, yeah, he's pretty much indestructible, but it was like the mystery of him. Like, he just seems like a mystical being. You know what I mean? And it just looks like a SoundCloud rapper that is murdering people.
Yep.
So, but we've got to start with the biggest news of the day, or of the week at least. I talked to Derek about this a little bit, so he knows. But Lydia, yesterday, Neve Campbell has announced that she's officially returning for Scream 7, with Kevin Williamson returning as a director this time.
What?
So it's happening. Yeah.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
What do you guys think?
That is like some big news right there. You weren't wrong.
Huge
it's gonna
news.
be the biggest Scream in years. That's my movie voice.
That's pretty good. Not bad.
That was pretty good.
So, of course, there's some people that are up in arms because of what happened with Melissa Barrera. Obviously, was shitty.
Well, yeah, what are you gonna do?
Obviously, shitty and fucked up, and but why? I mean, Neve Campbell definitely got paid. Let's just say this: she wasn't in the last one because they refused to pay her, and now this time, since they fucked up, they backed that truck up and said, "Here you go." So she definitely got paid, and I would not be surprised if she had, creative control over the script either. Really, like what the story is or where it goes. Wouldn't be surprised if we see her as an executive producer. But all we know right now is those pieces of news. Now, Kevin Williamson has never directed a Scream movie. Obviously, Wes Craven directed 4 of the 6 that are out. And Kevin Williamson has only directed 1 film. You guys remember Teaching Miss Tingle?
Mm-mm.
I mean, yes, but only for parts of it.
Yeah, that is the only film he directed. So
interesting.
This is going to be. I'm excited. I mean, look.
Yeah.
I think what happened with Melissa Barrera was bullshit. I think that the studio messed up. I'm definitely on her side, but I would also not put it past her to eventually return. I just don't think she's ready. I'm sure they offered an olive branch of some sort, and she was like, "You can take that olive branch and shove it up your ass." At this point, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but bringing back Nev was really the only move. We talked about it. That was the only move.
Yep.
So, no other news on any other returning characters. I don't know if the rest of the core four, like the other two, we know Jenna Ortega's not coming back because she had left before the Melissa Barrera decision. So,
hers
the
is
other
scheduling,
two,
right?
hers
Scheduling
was
conflicts.
scheduling. That's what she says. I mean, I think there was more to it than that, but because I don't see why she couldn't rearrange her schedule. I bet you they just refused to pay her too. To be honest, you know, like
He's
like
never
I wouldn't
coming
put it.
back. Oh, there he is.
Like I wouldn't put it past them to have maybe not paid her too, right? I mean, maybe that's why she left.
They got a track record, so
They do. So that's huge news. So we're getting this. You know, we don't have a release date for it yet. Just that it says Untitled Scream 7 on the script. We know that James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, who wrote the last two Scream movies, wrote the story for this one, and Guy Busick wrote the script, which I would not be surprised if Kevin Williamson does a pass on it himself. But we'll see what happens. To be continued. Guys, this news is great. I mean, this was from last weekend at the time of this recording. The Oscars happened, right? Big deal, the Oscars. And guys, our big green friend, Godzilla, won the Oscar for Best Special Effects. Godzilla -1.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yes. For the first time in 70 years, Godzilla won an Oscar. So it's huge, especially being a Japanese-made Godzilla movie with a budget south of $20 million. It is incredible. The movie was made for something like 10. It's fucking wild. So it won best special effects, and Emma Stone won Best Actress for Poor Things, which we've been talking about. So we'll have to check that out here sooner rather than later. So our genre has been getting some recognition from the Academy as of late. So that's great news.
Nice.
Speaking of Frankenstein stories, Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride of Frankenstein movie has a release date and is releasing next Halloween, October 3rd, 2025.
Nice.
This is the one that's going to star Penelope Cruz as the bride, Christian Bale as Frankenstein, and Peter Sarsgaard as a detective. Sounds promising, right?
Yep.
I'm excited for it. We need more, this is an actual Universal movie, so I love Universal monsters. Let's just bring them on, right? Update those guys. So, guys, do you remember a while back we talked about Gary Doberman's Salem's Lot? I think it's when we reviewed Salem's Lot. We were talking about we don't know what's happening with this guy, right? Just over and over. Well, we now know that it's not being shelved. Salem's Lot is actually going to premiere exclusively on Max. We don't know when, but it's I would imagine probably in October of this year. But the good news is it is seeing a release date and it's not being thrown to the dustbin of history. What are you guys' thoughts?
I can't wait. That's my thought.
Yeah. I remember talking about it. I don't remember the specifics, but there has to be a reason why they were tempted to potentially shelve it. So I'm skeptical. I'll go with that.
With Warner Brothers, with Warner Brothers, I don't think there has to be a reason. I mean, they did cancel the Coyote vs. Acme movie that got rave reviews. They just threw it away just for a tax write-off. So who knows?
What? What'd you say?
You didn't know about this? There was hopefully the tides can still change, but there was a completed live action cartoon hybrid starring Will Forte called Wile E. Coyote vs. Acme. And it was a courtroom drama about Wile E. Coyote suing Acme for all of their shit breaking down on him over the years, which is fucking hilarious.
That, I don't know if the current generation would get it, but yeah, that it makes sense.
It's
if you've
brilliant.
Ever watched a Wile E. Coyote cartoon?
So it was by their overlord he who should not be named, basically just going through like throwing projects away, which you should never throw an artist's work away. Let them release it. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Let them release it. It's talking directly to that piece of shit. But I'm happy that it's getting a release date. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know. Stephen King said he's seen it and he liked it. We don't know much about it. I mean, we know that the cast, we know Louis Pullman is in it. And that Doberman is directing. So we'll see. We'll see. And then we have two more quick pieces of horror news. Well, one quick piece and one that we're going to dig into. I'm excited for us to dig into. But Samara Weaving, our lovely Samara Weaving, she has said that she wants to fight Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street movie. How about you just make that movie, right?
Yeah.
Right? We've been needing Freddy anyway, and Samara Weaving would be an amazing final girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Derek?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had to look at her up because I forgot what she looked like. Yeah. Yeah, she kicked ass in The Babysitter, man. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, and Ready or Not, it's a fucking blast. That's one we'll have to do soon. That's a good one. Yeah, so we don't have any more new updates on. There was a fake update going around, which people on Facebook were sharing, and it was fucking cracking me up. I could not. Did you see this, Lydia?
I don't think so.
Let's see if I can find it, and I'll show you. So there's this fake thing going around on Facebook about a new Freddy Krueger project, and it was clearly just made by somebody in Photoshopped. It's called Fred. Come on, share. You guys can see this? Looks like the leprechaun. Looks like the leprechaun, by the way. So Fred, starring DJ Qualls, directed by Rob Zombie.
Oh my gosh.
You're muted, by the way, Derek.
I had not seen that, but nothing about that
looked
sounds
real
or looks good. I mean,
no,
let alone real.
Yeah. No, I know. I saw people sharing it, and they're like, "Oh, can you believe this?" Oh, and I was like, first of all, this one tiny channel is sharing this, so it's definitely fake. And secondly, look at this. It looks terrible. Why would they call it Fred? That's a horrible name for a Nightmare on Elm Street show. Why would they get Rob Zombie to direct it? What are you talking about? Yeah, so thankfully that's not happening.
I hate when people do that. I really do.
I know. I hate it too. I hate it when they share just ridiculous. They're like, "Yeah, oh, do you see they're making this like that one or any movie? Oh, this is happening," and they share a poster that has a release date. They're like, "I can't wait." It's like,
yeah,
It's obviously.
And you're just like,
how can you not tell that is photoshopped and awful? What the fuck are you talking about?
yeah,
I mean, I know
yeah,
sometimes movie posters have gone downhill in recent years, but not that much.
yeah.
Oh God, you got to send us more. If the listeners out there, send us some of your favorite fake posters for movies that don't exist. We'd love to go through them. We'll go through them on the next episode. Or in a couple episodes. It depends on how many we get. So guys, last bit of horror news. We have a little bit of news regarding our boy Michael Myers. So, you know, the last we heard, Miramax was making a TV series. Remember that? We discussed that. So we have some news on it. The creative behind it, the producer, said that here's his exact quote: "The foundation of it," and what's his name? I need to remember his name. It is Mark Helweg. He said, "The foundation of it is the original film, the John Carpenter movies, the characters of that film, and perhaps a group of characters that we haven't really focused on that much in recent film versions, or even in a number of them." Said it's a creative reset completely and going back to the original film as opposed to spinning out of the more recent film adaptations. We are on the fast track. It's a big priority for us. We had lots of exciting conversation in recent months with a number of really talented people, and I think we'll have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do very soon. So, there's a lot to unpack there. The most important thing, the most important piece of that is it sounds like, I mean, where it's going to be a reinvention, of course, and they're throwing the David Gordon Green version into the trash because that's where that at least Halloween Ends belongs. And
I said shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not far off.
But what we are getting, it seems like, is if it's a TV series that concentrates on Michael Myers, obviously we're going to have characters. It sounds like we're not doing Laurie Strode again, which thank God. I love Laurie Strode, but we've been Laurie Strode to death, right? I think that maybe I've heard this from other people. What do you guys think of a TV series that focuses on Dr. Loomis?
Yep. Depends on who they get, but that'd be pretty cool.
Almost be the way to go, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because
like how many times have they kind of messed his character up too throughout? You know, it's like he really. Oh man, that would be so good if they did it right.
Yeah, if you do a Loomis movie, and don't make it a prequel, don't make it where Michael Myers is in Smith's Grove. The shape is out, the shape is loose, and Sam Loomis is trying to find him. That's your story, right? He tracks him to. It doesn't even have to be in Haddonfield. He tracks him somewhere else, somewhere that people don't know about Michael Myers or the shape, and he's trying to warn people, and he's trying to stop him before he can. That could be a whole season of a TV series. And each episode, the shape kills somebody else, or almost kills, and somebody escapes, and you have all of them intertwined eventually. I am down for this Loomis idea.
Me too.
I feel like that's the only way to go. I don't know how else you could sustain it if you don't have him tracking the shape, I mean, we can't just follow the shape walking around murdering people. I mean, I would watch that, but I don't know how many other people would. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a good TV series. It's also important to know where we don't know yet where it's airing. I'm guessing Peacock, probably either Peacock, Netflix, or something like that. I don't want it to go to Stars because it just doesn't get the views on Stars. Though they did a phenomenal job with Ash vs. Evil Dead, it just didn't get the views. So I think it needs to go somewhere where people can watch it, like Netflix or Peacock or somewhere HBO Max, something like that. but we will see. But it needs to be a place that that it's R-rated. You know, it needs to be somewhere that they can show the murder. So, what do you think there, Derek?
100% agree.
Good. Tried to trip him up. I saw he was muted. Tried to trip him up.
Why would you do that? Well, we've gotten a lot of rain, and my sub pump is over there going boop boop boop. So I'm trying not to.
We can't hear it.
That's good.
Yeah,
but
so you're good.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. I would watch that all day long, and I agree with you. And where it airs would be very important to its ultimate success.
Yes.
Or failure.
Yeah, or failure. And I mean, the talk is also that the plan is that they'll make this TV series and also spin it into movies. You know what I mean? And like, so Michael Myers is not going to leave the cinemas. They're still going to make Halloween movies. But what if you combine it with this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? We'll see. I'm just excited to get more. I'm excited to see the shape. I need to get my boy back. After they bastardized him the last time, he needs to return in his full glory.
Man, that little trilogy of those movies, man, it had it was a fucking bell curve. You know what I mean? Like it went
pretty bell curving.
It hit a peak and then it just went nosedived right down. It was.
He did not approve.
Really need to talk about him.
He did not. He did not approve. Sorry, they did that to your boy. We'll talk about them. We have like 5 to 7 other Halloween movies to get through, but we'll get there eventually. I think we're on part 6 now, and that's going to be a double episode because we've got to do the theatrical cut and producer's cut of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be fun. We'll have to plan for that one. Don't worry, we're not doing that this week because we have to plan for that. But we'll know when we're doing it, so we'll plan that guy out. And that wraps up this version of horror news. Guys, The Fourth Kind. Not Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is one of my all-time favorite films. This one is not. So let's talk about The Fourth Kind. When are you guys' first time seeing this?
I saw this when it came out. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw it in theater. I remember it being pretty effectively scary in the theater. Or wherever I watched it. I don't know. I would watch movies at my friend's house a lot of times, and they had like a big TV, and we'd always watch.
So it seemed like a theater.
Yeah. So I can't remember exactly if I saw it in the theater or not, but yeah, and I don't think I've seen it. I think I saw it maybe like twice, like around when it came out, and then I haven't seen it since.
How about you, Derek? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I think I've seen it one time, and I think it was a video rental. And actually, there's a high chance that we rented it at some point.
There might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen this movie more than at least. I know I've seen it. I just haven't. I know I haven't seen it more than that.
Yeah, I think this is only the second time I've seen it as well. Same thing. Like it might have been when we rented. I remember it was a rental. I watched it. Was like, and then didn't see it again for, almost 15 years. Because it came out in 2009. So, I mean, that's crazy. By the way, that's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's wild shit right there. That's some wild shit. That's scarier than the movie. Let me tell you that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So this is like only my second time seeing it. So I did not have like a lot of, memories about it. I remember the things that happened when things happened. But I don't remember I wasn't like, oh yeah, here's the line where she says this. It's not Evil Dead 2, I'm like, oh yeah, here comes the great part. Give me some. Come get some.
Let me know when you're ready, and I'm ready to rip into this movie. No, I'm not going to rip into it, but
let's do it.
All right. So here, I'm going to start with this because it was the most it's not annoying. So here's the thing. You know how you get like a movie, like, the Conjuring movies. Oh, this film is based on true events that happened.
Correct.
That's one thing. This movie went the extra mile to completely deceive the audience, which I think actually hurt this movie in a lot of ways.
Agree.
Because you cut that shit out, this movie's at least one more better than it was. But you get into it and you realize, yeah, go ahead, I'll quit.
No, go ahead. No, keep talking.
Well, because I was watching this, and I don't remember anything about this movie. Well, very little. And I'm like, I'm gonna look up this, and you realize the lady is actually an actress, and she's been in a whole bunch of stuff. And you're just like, so this movie is a complete farce.
Yep.
And I was just like, in 2009, the internet is
alive
here, but it's not. Everybody doesn't have access to it, right? You still have people going to the library to fucking look shit up, and so it was it was over the top deceptive. I think that hurt it. That's my 2 cents.
No, I would agree. I would agree because I think I told Sarah this as I was watching it. I think so. First of all, what they were trying to go for is the Blair Witch vibe. They were trying to kind of create that kind of, oh, this is real events, and they're like, well, what if we just intercut it with this, real footage? And if they would have done it maybe sparingly, it could have been effective. The problem is, it just undercuts all the tension of whatever scene's going on. Because then you're remembering, oh, this is actress Mia Jovovich playing this person, so she's not in any danger. You know what I mean? And we know this woman's alive, so we're not in really any danger. And so it undercuts it. And it also makes it to where you can't focus because you're trying to focus on both the soundtracks, you're trying to focus on both the images, and then they do some obnoxious editing. And you guys know how I feel about obnoxious editing. We're like fucking 5 squares in this, and I'm like, why are there? Is this fucking Hollywood Squares? What are we doing here? What is going on? Where's Paul Lind? I don't understand.
Yeah, I have to say, as I was watching this movie, because I think I was, I don't know, a sophomore when I saw this. So, and I didn't have access to the internet at that time, I don't think, at my home, So it was pretty effective on me to get that feeling of that Blair Witch, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of feeling of oh my gosh, is this, this real footage? I don't know if it is. And then by the end, you're like, that can't be real footage.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
And so I definitely had the feeling of disappointment watching it this time of oh man, these guys are going to tear this apart.
And then I don't want you to...
I wasted my pick on this.
No. I think... Go ahead.
No, you didn't waste it because we had to... Hey, you wanted to pick an alien invasion? Well, you'll get a scary one. You'll find a scary one.
Yeah.
But you already knew that I was at a disadvantage because of how I feel about alien invasion or alien horror movies in general. I just don't find them scary. So this one, I was already like, okay, I'm gonna go in with an open mind and I'm gonna try to get into the mood. And then it started, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Mia Jovovich is immediately saying, I'm actress Mia Jovovich. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I forgot about that. That's right. All right. That's how it's framed. Okay. And then when the director's like, with the spinning camera, you must decide. I was like, this fucking feels like Ed Wood right now to me. This is like fucking Christoph.
If, and not the real, the scenes where the guy's levitating in bed and, some of the, if there had been some sort of real footage of just a real doctor having a conversation with somebody, because I'll tell you what, that actress, she did a really great job.
She's really good.
She was rode hard and put away wet. She looked like she was real worn down, right? Which was the essence of what she was trying to
Probably not the description you should have used for her, but yeah.
Perhaps not, but I still,
probed hard.
Yeah, probed hard and put away wet. Yeah,
it does depict that. But if they would have had like, go ahead.
Good.
I was gonna say if they had like not like the super exaggerated stuff, but like some footage that was based in reality. I think you could have maybe done something with that. Obviously, that doesn't exist. That's not the movie that we really got.
Yeah,
but
no, I think if they would have done
the exact,
I think they would have done the exact same thing with hiring an actress to play this character that doesn't exist. That's fine, and then you have faux documentary footage inserted sparingly throughout the movie. Wouldn't be bad. Like if it just would cut to a headshot of her and she's says something that happens, and then we go into the scene, then we just play the scene. But this, and I get what he's trying to go for. I just think it's a tension killer. I just think it just kills the tension every time that there's. First of all, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, which is that we get one scene where a guy kills his family and turns a gun on himself. That's like the most intense scene in the movie. The rest of the movie is a scene. There's a bunch of scenes where nothing really happens, right? And we're relying on like just loud noises, and shaky, to kind of scare us. So like nothing really scary happens, right? Are we in agreement with this? Like,
yeah, it's more of like an overall like spooky vibe, and that's it. Like loud noises, which are usually pretty effective on me. So
yeah. What do you think about the scare factor of this one, Derek?
I wouldn't say in the one scene that you mentioned, like it was super intense. It wasn't necessarily scary.
It would have been if they wouldn't have cut to the other footage that just undercuts it, and you're like, well, obviously they're not going to put footage of a man actually murdering his family in this PG-13 film, so even as a skeptic, you're like, no, okay. But yeah, it undercuts it because you just hear it. The movie is just too loud, guys. It's too noisy. Just too much going on. It's like ADD. It's like, and as I was watching it, and I was like, there's some nice camera moves and stuff here and there, good, decent shot compositions. But as I'm watching it, I was like, man, like I like to move the camera when we shoot, but I don't like to move the camera. I like to glide it. I like these long establishing shots, and I'm like, am I old? Like, is that what, like, is it just me, or is it, that was definitely a product of its time, right?
Mm-hmm. It feels a lot like alien UFO documentaries, that came out around that time that you're watching like at 3 a.m. with infomercials in between. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of how like a lot of these shots felt to me, and just the color grading of it all being like
the color grading
blue.
was ugly. I think, I think I don't think the color. I didn't like the color grading.
Yeah, it's like those reenactments. The reenactments of, I don't know, I watched tons of stuff like that. And I'm not saying they're good, I'm just saying I watched tons of them.
No, I used to watch some of those, like freaking, your unsolved mysteries and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Or like your alien secrets exposed.
Yes, exactly.
I have a VHS tape
Haunted
in
house.
the other room. I have a VHS tape in the other room that I was going through. It was just a blank VHS tape. And I was like, oh, let's see what's on this one. And Dad had recorded some kind of fucking alien show.
Yes.
From 1998.
Like
it did. 1998. The reason I know it was 1998 is because the Chicago Bulls were in the NBA Finals.
Nice.
The newscast that followed, and I was like, nice.
That's great. Or did you ever watch Monster Quest?
Yes.
Yeah. I used to watch the crap out of some Monster Quest, but that's kind of how it feels a little bit.
Derek, you were going to say something. What were you saying?
To kind of add to what was mentioned already, like the distracting portions were whenever they did the side by side, the audio, like it wasn't synced up, and so I think it would have been way more effective if you like started the scene with the actors and then cut that completely away, because then you could at least establish like, a visual, oh, that's who these characters are, and then cut to the archive footage. But like playing it side by side, you're like,
yeah,
you're going like this, and you're trying to hear what's going on, and it's just slightly off. They're saying the same thing, different cadence. Like it's like trying to edit video, and you're trying to line up
audio.
Yes, and then you're like in the movie with Mila, and you're like, you're acting. I can see you're acting.
Yeah,
because
you look like you're acting.
Yeah, and they do. They look so much more like they are acting than the other people, which I'll give them props for that. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, or if it was just the thing that happens when you're like, this is real footage, and this is.
I mean, I think she did a fine job. I don't think she's terrible in the movie.
Oh yeah, no, I think she's wonderful. I think amazing.
she does a fine job. But honestly, I think the best actor in the movie is Will Patton, for sure, as the sheriff, because he's just always the best actor in every movie. And he just fucking is so believable, man. He's just so believable.
And he didn't have any real footage of him either.
Because they didn't cast the character because they said he refused to participate.
Yeah, which I was like, that's kind of clever, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I like
also,
that. I like the other guy
Casey
too.
Jones. Casey Jones is great as well.
Oh yeah, I loved him. He's so grounded.
Yeah, he's really good too.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very grounded. He the least believable scene in this movie when you're watching it is after the second hypnosis and the guy gets paralyzed and they come to arrest her. And you're just like, oh, give me a break. There were like 4 witnesses to this.
Yeah.
It's a videotape.
The video is scrambled, is what she says. Yeah. But still,
but it's not because we saw the video.
Exactly.
I know.
And it was like translated, and it was like that officer has like less proof than what she has. Like,
well, yeah, you can't just arrest somebody. Just you have to have probable
because
cause
they were
to arrest
there.
Somebody. Yeah, you can't just be like, well, you're under arrest for vague reason. I told Sarah, I said, I would say, please arrest me. I'm going to sue your fucking entire department. I'm going to own your job. You're going to rename the police station freaking whatever my doctor character's name is, because I forget it. Because it's like not memorable. Abby Tyler. That's it. What a generic ass name. Yeah, but no, you're right. I think those are good. And I think the actors that play the people that are having hallucinations do well too. But again, it's just like kind of it's trying to go for like psychological scares, but it undercuts it with those real footage scenes, and then you're also just kind of like, what? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And obviously,
I have to say my favorite, the owl. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. My favorite scene in the whole movie is that 360 shot of the owl, or 180 shot of the owl. Turning its head completely around.
I'm obsessed. I like
with
the concept of the owl. I think that's cool because it's like the way to like make it look like it. You know, they see it's the alien, but they see it as an owl because that's the only way they can comprehend it.
Yes,
because apparently they've never fucking watched Men in Black or something.
Well, right, yeah. No, that's a really cool like thing that is like if you watch a bunch of UFO documentaries and stuff, like you'll hear stuff like that of like abduction cases. So I get why they put that in there, because the idea of that being, you know, so scary that you cannot
you can't comprehend it.
Mind breaks,
So cool. It's so scary.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
I think that's why it was so effective on me when I was younger, because I had an imagination like that where I was very afraid of aliens. like, and I grew up out in the country, and I was like, would not go outside at night, like alone, because I was like, if I see an alien,
I'm out.
I'm out.
It's kind
of funny. It wasn't like ghosts or demons; it was aliens for me, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Sarah said something to me, because she used to be terrified of this movie. She watched it with me today. She was on the couch while it was on. She wasn't like intently watching, but she was watching it. And I said, "Hey, babe, is this one of the scenes that scared you?" And she was like, "It's just." She's like, "I was little. I was a little kid, and I think she realized how not scary it is now. But I think as a little kid, you use your imagination for it, and especially if you haven't watched horror movies. Like if I was a little kid and watched this, it probably would have done nothing to me because I was overly desensitized piece of shit by that point. Yeah,
watched Freddy Krueger when you were 5, and you're like, "That's nothing."
Younger than that.
You used to scare your aunt, didn't you? Like, I'm Freddy Krueger. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, when my Aunt Lindsay, when I was real little, my Aunt Lindsay had to watch me, and I would just pretend like I was Freddy. I guess one time she tells we're walking in the park, and I just stopped and I stood in the shadows, and she's like, "Jamie, what are you doing?" And I just didn't answer. She's like, "Jamie," and I was like, "I'm not Jamie. I'm Freddy." And she was like, "Oh my God."
Dude, Clark is like that, man. Oh my God, Clark is so like that.
Ryder is picking up on that too.
Yeah, he does it too. He does the Freddyisms. But yeah,
he does. He'll chase you around.
Yeah. I just used to get into character, and I would only answer to Freddy. And she was like, "This kid's gonna murder me."
I'm sure Connor will pick it up pretty soon too.
Oh, he will. He'll meet Fred when he's old enough. So this movie was on while he was in the room, and a couple of the screams, I think, kind of like, the loud noises kind of freaked him out a little. Yeah. But he didn't like cry. He didn't like cuddle up to me. He was just kind of like, and he looked at it and he looked over at me like, "What the hell is that, Dad?" And I'm like, "It's fine."
You watching this shit, Dad? It's wild.
You know what's funny? My puppy was reacting to it.
Well, the noises are so loud.
Yeah, well, and straight out the gate, the very first shot is like Mila Djokovic, and she's like, it kind of like is zooming into her, and my puppy was just like staring at it, like, who is this woman coming towards me? And then was just focused on her like the whole movie. It was cute.
Yeah, I love her. Threatened? Like, I love her. I do. I used to have a huge crush on her. By used to, I mean, it's currently exists. It currently exists.
Yeah.
I mean, she's beautiful.
She's so gorgeous.
She is very pretty.
Those eyes.
Yeah, she has really, really pretty eyes. Yeah. But yeah, this movie's it's something else. The big twist is obviously like, so we know her husband was killed earlier and whatever, so we get that twist, which by the way, I'd seen it in forever, but I immediately knew. He's like, when she's like, "You never found my husband a killer," and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, he did it himself, did it himself." And then at the end, when she finally admits that he did, which is like one of those weird like moments, I was like, interesting. So is that to basically make us not trust? I think the point of that is to make her an unreliable narrator, right?
Right. Yeah. Which is every single abductee, right? Like that's how that's kind of makes it more realistic, because you're like, oh yeah, I don't know if I trust this person, because you don't know if you can trust anyone who comes up with some stuff like that.
If somebody tells me they're abducted by aliens, I immediately just don't trust them. That's a rule of thumb.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, look, I think that you probably were possessed by demons. No, I'm just kidding. I don't believe that any more than I believe in aliens. I believe in aliens more than I believe in that, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's
so strange. And when they zoom out and she's like paralyzed, you're like, oh.
Yeah. The whole freaking you know what this movie, I think, tries to be but doesn't quite succeed. Another movie that's similar to this is the Mothman Prophecies.
Oh.
With Richard Gere. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I think I've seen it one time.
We might do it for a podcast at some point. It's pretty solid. But it really evokes the tension, I think, is its strongest suit. And the paranoia. I think Will Patton's in that thing too. Maybe. Will Patton's in fucking every movie, man. when I think of Will Patton, you know the movie I think of the most? Two movies. Remember the Titans, of course. They'll not gain another yard. You know.
Will not gain another yard.
Yeah. And Gone in 60 Seconds.
Really?
Yep.
I always think of the Punisher, the one with
Punisher. Yep.
Thomas Jane.
Yep. He's in that one too. Yep.
Where he gets killed and he's like, Howard, why you kill me?
Yeah, why you kill me, Howard? Why you kill me?
Or Armageddon, man. Armageddon.
There it is. Yeah, too. Yeah. I love in Gone in 60 Seconds. I just love his character in Gone in 60 Seconds, man. Because he's just like, you know, he's the mentor of. He's like, you know why your brother ran away? Because he didn't want you to end up like he did. You know, and you're just like, yeah. You know, Gone in 60 Seconds is
so long.
Gone in 60 Seconds is kind of, you know, trashy, but I really liked it. I really liked it as a kid. I thought it ripped. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That car is beautiful, Eleanor. Oh. It's a lot of fun. Has Vinnie Jones as a mortician that is part of the crew. You have Robert Duvall fucking popping around in there. God. Welcome to Gone in 60 Seconds, the podcast. But yeah, Will Patton's the best. He's the best. And yeah, as soon as I saw Elias, I was like, oh look, it's Casey Jones. He'll forever and always be Casey Jones, won't he, Derek?
Yes, he will. Every movie.
Yep. Like, what's Casey Jones doing in here? You're claustrophobic. What? What you call me? I'll quote Ninja Turtles every episode from now on. I've quoted it 2 episodes in a row. I love the Ninja Turtles movie. It rules. It's pretty good, isn't it, Derek?
The Ninja Turtles movie is... Oh, man, I saw the craziest thing. It was something on Facebook, and somebody was like, I paused the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And now I'm horrified. And it's a scene where, like, one of them is laughing, and you can see the actor's face through the mouth.
It's Donatello. It's during the scene where they're like, it's right after Raph wakes up, and Leo, you know, holds him up, and he's like, what a Kodak moment. And you could see the actor's eyes in mouth and the freaking... And I was like...
Ooh.
Yeah. Great movie. So, guys, what else do you want? Anything else you want to talk about with this one? It'll be a short episode because there's not a lot to discuss. I don't feel like.
Yeah, you're right. Dang it, guys! I was hoping this was going to be like so scary.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't make it. You didn't make it.
Yeah.
So,
what if I did?
Oh, maybe you secretly did. Then good job. It was not bad. Good try.
Good try.
Yeah. Good try. What are you guys gonna rate this? Who wants to go first?
I mean, I can go.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
I'm throwing it out there.
I'm just gonna give it a 5. So you're giving it a 5.
I don't want to be impacted by anybody else's.
Didn't want to be swayed.
All right, so if you take that archived footage out, the premise of the movie is not bad. No. And I thought the acting was pretty decent. Like, you could tell it, you know, they were the reenactors or whatever. And actually, I think that in a lot of the scenes, we talked about it, like those archive footage, like those actors did a really great job. Yeah. I feel like it didn't execute where it should have to be the movie it wanted to be.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna give it a 5 too. I thought about a 6, but I'm gonna give it a 5.
Did any of it give you like the heebie-jeebies?
No.
Not even when it was like I feel like one of the creepiest parts was when she like heard herself on the recording, like after she fell asleep and she was like screaming. I felt like that was kind of creepy.
That could have been creepy if we wouldn't have just had the voice of the other woman just randomly playing over it too. It's I think the concept is really creepy and really cool. Like Derek said, the execution's a lot of the problem. I'm gonna give it a 5.2, guys. I'm with you. I'm not gonna be mean and give it like a 4 or a 3. I don't think it's a terrible movie. Right. It's just not one that I'll go back to again. I think I've seen it twice and that's good enough for me. There's not a lot that's to it that's scary to me, and I don't enjoy the execution. That's not to say that it's bad. Some people might enjoy that execution, and it might work for them. It just didn't land for me, so it's a 5. All right. Now it's time for the most important part. Who would Tom Atkins play in this movie to raise this motherfucker to a 10?
Thrill me.
Abby Tyler.
If they made it John Tyler, that would work.
Right?
I say we make him he'd be either Abel, right? There's not a lot of characters, so he'd probably be Abel, I guess.
Yeah.
Or, because you can make him Will Patton's character as well, but yeah, let's make him Abel.
Sounds good to me. What is Derek hearing?
Well, I got a lot of sounds going on. I got this loud ass computer. I've got the sub pump, and then another sound came on. I'm like, what is that? It's Quincy upstairs. She's running the sink.
Oh, okay. So, guys.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were gonna. I agree with both of your picks for.
Okay.
He didn't hear what we were talking about.
I heard Abby, and then I.
No, we picked Elias.
Abel.
Elias's character, Abel.
Okay.
The other doctor.
Yeah.
Because he has a bigger part. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a bigger part. We could also make him the random doctor that shows up for 2 scenes. We gotta talk about that.
Historian guy?
Yeah.
The guy who did, yeah.
He shows up for literally 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Next week, it's my turn to pick, right?
What did we watch last week?
Deadly Blessings. No, it's my turn.
Oh, well, it's your turn to pick. Okay, go ahead. That's right.
All right. I'm going to pick Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
You're not picking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That is pretty scary. It's pretty scary.
It is terrifying. It is.
You know what? I'm going to pick a movie that's groovy.
I'd hope so.
And other things. You know what? I don't know.
Did you not think of this before?
I was. I even got a random horror movie generator, but nothing on there looks really good. So
okay.
There's one I want to do, but I don't want to do it right now. There's
okay.
I think Jamie will hate it. I liked it when I saw it because of when it came out, and it kind of played into a whole thing that was going on at the time. Regardless of that, we're gonna go. I'm pretty sure it was from the 80s, maybe early 90s.
You have a
great cast.
Google machine. You could find out.
I could, but I haven't done that yet. But it's got an awesome cast. I think the premise of the movie is really cool. We're gonna do Flatliners.
Ah, Flatliners.
The original. They did a remake, but
yes, they did with Elliot Page, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's 1990 exactly, and it is streaming on pretty much nowhere. Hulu, Paramount Plus, Fubo, whatever the fuck that is.
You've never heard of Fubo?
Not heard of Fubo.
I've watched movies on Fubo. Every time I read that, I think of the Waterboy's mom. Foosball.
Yeah. I've heard of Tubi and Pluto, but not Fubo.
Yeah.
I don't know why that name cracked me up so much. Oh my god. So yeah, Flatliners next week, starring Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, and a bunch of other folks.
Julia Roberts is in this movie.
Julia Roberts, yep. It is streaming on Paramount Plus, Fubo TV, the Roku channel, Showtime, Hulu, Sling TV, Amazon, Apple TV. You can rent it. So there's a lot of places to try to find this guy. Flatliners 1990. Be sure to get the 90s one because we're not doing the new one yet. Derek. Sorry, I thought about Fubu again. Literally, I was about to say something and it just, like the words popped into my mind. Derek, do you have a story for us tonight?
Yeah, so it's a couple of them, and they're about my brother, so.
Perfect.
First one, man, my brother, this is gonna start like a your mama joke, but my brother was so fat that we were at the county fair in Peru, or the Peru fair. I don't know if it was the county fair. Either way, so we were at the fair, and both of these things happened at the fair, but I don't think they were in the same year. So Jay was like severely obese whenever he was younger, and then he got on a different something that made him lose a bunch of weight. Either way, so he was on the
that's not legal, should we say?
Yeah, so he was on both of these happened on the Ferris wheel. I completely forget about this. So he's on the Ferris wheel and he's going around, and he gets off of the Ferris wheel and steps on the tiniest fucking pebble that you can think of, and he breaks his ankle.
Oh my god!
And I remember my mom's husband at the time was like so mad because they had to take him to their emergency room, and like he had to get a cast put on his foot. And it just added to his.
That husband sounds like a cool guy. You fucker! How dare you break your ankle?
Yeah. It was a nuisance to him apparently, but yeah, he stepped on the tiniest pebble and broke his ankle. I remember that. Yeah. Then the other one. So this one's really great. So my brother, he's just kind of a interesting person. So I'm on the Ferris wheel this time, and I noticed that he and his friends are. Oh, man, I feel bad for this one actually. So he and his friends are like walking around. We came separately, and I'm a little bit older. I'm in my like mid-teens, and so I see him like walking past, and I'm at the very top, and I went. I wouldn't have done this to anybody else except for my brother. I spit on his hair, and I see it go.
Derek!
He didn't even notice. Just had spit in his hair.
That is so gross. That is so gross. That's really mean.
I wouldn't have done it to anybody else except for my brother. And you know what? In some ways, I feel like he deserved it.
Well, he did steal your identity, so.
Yeah, he did do that.
Oh my god, dude.
God, I hope he never listens to this.
Yeah, me too.
I hope he does. He might.
He'll never
remember
it because. Well, he'll never remember it because he didn't realize that it happened. But I watched that spit float all the way down and land right in his hair. I was like, bullseye.
That's insane.
You didn't even mention it to him after? You just let it go? Oh my god. So, fucking 30 years later, 25 years later, you're revealing it to him. Oh my god, dude. That's a good story. Those were good stories. The first one was just awkward. The best part about the first one was the way you laughed when you said he broke his ankle.
I know I've told you this one, but it's kind of like all related together. So my brother one day, he was like sifting through his weed and he was picking out the seeds in his weed, and he had a pair of tweezers. And so, he was just doing this in our living room. And he had set him down on his knee. He had his like legs crossed, and my mom yelled for him to like come do something. So he like set a tray down. And this is so long ago. This was literally like I was 13 maybe. So this is almost 30 years ago. It was a long time ago. Either way, so he like sets his weed down, and he had those tweezers on his knee. And when he got up, he forgot that they were there. And I don't know how. I don't understand how this happened. It defies logic. He must have like scooted his foot across the carpet and the tweezers got stuck. All I know is these tweezers were about that long and about that much was sticking out of his foot. And there was no blood whatsoever. He had gotten these tweezers stuck all the way up into his leg or his foot, man. I don't know how it happened. I don't understand it.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding you. I have thought about this a lot over the years, and I'm like, I still can't figure out how that happened. And my brother was huge. He was like 400 pounds at this time, and he's like, he's like, I'm gonna pass out. And I'm like, dude, we need to get you to the car and get you to the hospital so that they can take these tweezers out. And he was like, I'm gonna faint. I can't make it. I'm gonna faint. We had to call an ambulance for my brother to come after we hit his stash. So that they could come and cart his ass out because he was so fat.
Oh my gosh.
He's got the mean streak tonight.
What did he do to you today? Like,
he actually called and wished me a happy birthday today. So.
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, happy birthday, by the way.
He was a day late though.
He called me a day early, and he thought that he missed it. I give him credit. He's like right around there. Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
But Lydia, this is after, just to give you some context. So Jay called me one time. He was like, hey man, you ought to help me get a cell phone. And I'm like, Jay, there's no way I'm going to help you get a cell phone. You're like the most unreliable person I've ever met in my life. And he got in such a heated exchange. He was like, man, I'm going to go and like get a bunch of loans and I'm going to fuck your credit up. And I'm like, it was like because I wouldn't get him a cell phone. Yeah. So he threatened to like screw up which I don't know if you've ever had this, but if somebody screws your credit up, like it is not good. Jay took out a loan when I was younger, like a $12,000 loan to go to a driving school. And you know what my grandma said? My grandma was like, well, Derek, you ought to pay it off. You'd have great credit. I'm like, fuck you, Grandma. You shit on my back. I'm not paying that off. I did not say F you, Grandma, but I was like, no, Grandma, I'm not going to pay back $12,000 for just so I can have good credit. Like that doesn't make any sense. And so that was on my credit for like ever.
Yeah. He stole his identity, and then he got arrested once and told him that he was Derek Lemaster. He had a driver's license that said Derek Lemaster.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a driver's license. He took my entire identity. It was pretty terrible. But Derek
called the police station and
Jerry,
asked for John Lemaster, and they said, we don't have a John here. We have a Derek. And Derek had to explain to them, no, that's me.
He's like, oh yeah, because they have to book you under the name you give them, and he gave him my name.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Anywho's.
I don't blame you for spitting on him now.
Yeah, fuck him. You know what? While you're you should have spit on your grandma, Derek.
No. I loved my grandma. She was,
we need to have like a t-shirt with like a Ferris wheel with like Derek at the top just spitting on people.
When your brother's at the bottom of the Ferris wheel and you don't like him.
Yeah, that's so funny. My God.
Drop a loogie.
All right, guys. And that is this week's show. I know it's a wild one. Became a wild one at the end there. Derek's stories always takes it to another level. Comment down below on your thoughts on The Fourth Kind. Did it scare you? Did you think it was good? Also, like I asked earlier, send us those fake movie posters. We'll totally take a look at those. And then have you spit on and or shit on any of your relatives? Comment down below.
You're gonna give me PTSD, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why you said it like that. It's really weird.
I guess it's better than an STD.
Yeah, that's true.
Anywho. Sorry.
Could happen if you get spit on. You can follow us each on the Twitter machine. Follow Lydia at Lydia Spooky, Derek at DDoglyMaster, and me at Racket. Find us online at HiLaProductions.com. You can also find us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. We are a month in some change away from shooting the opening scene to Secret Admirer, so that's going to be really exciting. We'll have some casting news coming up. It's happening. It's really close, and we can't wait to share it with you guys. But next week, watch Flatliners, 1990. Remember, 1990. And we'll discuss it and have some good takes about that as well. So until next week, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.